Joining us now is Terry McBride. Welcome to the show, Terry. How are you?
Hi, Donna. I'm fine. How are you?
Excellent. Doing really well. I found out in my research that you have been a songwriter for a really long time, not just a performer yourself, but that you also have written some of the major songs that people really love. What is it about being a songwriter that brings you such joy?
For me, it's just the creative process, as well as being a musician. Learning, writing, it all kind of came uh, together for me at the same time because I started out as a guitar player as a young kid, and then wanted to try to write songs like some of my heroes. Whether it was Willie Nelson or whoever. But starting with an idea, putting ideas on paper or a computer, whatever you do, and then seeing that turn into a song, and then maybe hopefully an artist records that, and you hear it on the radio. It's all a great feeling. It's a sense of accomplishment. It's a real high just from. I've been fortunate to have a lot of my heroes record some of my songs, and that's just it's wonderful to be recognized in that way. George Strait sitting around somewhere trying to learn a song that I wrote. That's just such a cool thought.
Yeah, and Reba. I mean, let's go ahead. Name drop a little bit, Terry. Go right ahead. Just let's just go for it. Let's talk about it.
Well, I mean, some of my heroes for sure. Alan Jackson, Hank Jr. Reba has been really good to me over the years. I've had a couple duets with her and Brooks and Dunn together, that's a big thrill. I'm a fan of country music and a lot of other music as well, but really cut my teeth on country. That's sort of the lane I've always sort of stayed in. So to see these artists like what I'm doing enough to record a song, that's quite flattering to say the least.
Well, I became a country fan because my first car was a Pontiac Nova, and it only had an AM radio in it. And there was an AM country station out of St. Louis, Missouri. And that is why I started becoming a country fan. I mean, like literally, right? So it was like it was like Alabama, and it was like, I think it was like
Oh,
Alabama had like a tour, and it was their 25th year or something like that. And I got to meet all the members
oh,
of the band when they played the Checker Dome.
oh,
I mean,
cool.
but that's for me, that was the start. And living in St. Louis, it's kind of southern. It's Midwest, but it's also southern, right? You're only 5 hours from Nashville. You're 5 hours from Memphis. You're like right in the heartland, I think, of
Yeah.
the country. And they like country music because it just kind of tells
Oh,
the story of somebody's life.
oh, you bet. I mean, I've played there over the years. Kansas City, that whole area through there, getting up into Kansas, Nebraska. There are some serious country music fans in that neck of the woods, and we've played all through there, all the way up to Minnesota, West Coast, East Coast, you name it. But yeah, it's still and country is still popular. It's a different crowd a little bit, but the crowd that we grew up with in the '90s, they're still there, and they're still very passionate about that music they grew up on.
We were talking about country music. You're talking about the 90s, talking about all the greats. One of the things that I have discovered too is the fact that country people, country music lovers, seem to be neighborly. Like if you needed to borrow, right? If you needed to borrow a cup of sugar or like you lost your favorite boots or something like that, people come to the rescue. They're the helpers. They're the people that are like making a pie for you if you don't feel well, right? When you notice that country culture, whether it was like in Austin where you grew up for a little while or where you live now, what was something nice that somebody did for you along the way?
Oh wow! I mean, I've had a lot of people help me. I tell you, Donna, early on, one of the nicest things anybody did for me was just people who sort of took me in and took an interest in what I was doing. Uh, a couple great songwriters early on in my career, living in Austin, Texas, Bill Carter and Ruth Ellsworth. They were having success at that time with artists like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Fabulous Thunderbirds. They were really respected in the community, and I got to know them, went on tour with them, and played them some of my little home demos. And they just sort of took me in and started writing with me and put time aside and made time for me. And that's I didn't have anything going on at the time. I was sort of a local guy that was sort of had a reputation for being a good player and singer, but still, they just really took time out of their schedule and embraced me and what I was trying to do. But then as I became an artist, oh my gosh, fans, they're so passionate about this music, country fans. that they would do all sorts of things. They would bring, things for us to eat. They would make things, clothing, guitar straps. I mean, you name it.
Wow.
It's a wonderful bunch, and you get that real experience. You get it every night on the road. But back in the day, it was Fan Fair. Now it's called CMA Fan Fest. But
Yes.
those fans turn out in droves because they just want a little time and a little bit of your time to say hello or whatever. And I love that about country fans. They're still like that. We still make time for them as well because we realize how important they are to our career.
They're everything, right? Without even
Oh
me,
yeah.
without it, without my audience, there's no show if nobody's watching, right? Who are we talking to, Terry? Like it's like talking to ourselves, right? Um, speaking about like, so the name of this new song that you have going out right now is called "Going Out of Your Mind," right? So what is that? What is that song about?
Well, it's a song that I had an opportunity to write with this guy back in the early 90s. His name is Costas. He was BMI Songwriter of the Year as I met him and was getting preparing to write with him. So it was a little intimidating to say the least. He had written several of my favorite songs, and so I just really, while we were on tour, I just kept working on an idea, a hook, a title, and I finally got what I thought was a good idea, part of a chorus, and then I took the song to him. He really liked it. We hit it off personally, musically, and by the end of the night, we had a song that we were both really proud of. And I still am to this day. He had just heard from a couple that he had known forever, and they were getting a divorce, and he was really upset about
Mm.
it. He was, sad to hear that kind of news, and he just let it sort of pour out into this song. Fortunately for me, the song was already leaning in that direction, and so I took advantage of his pain, is what I did, Donna.
Understood. You kind of like, I would say you didn't take advantage of it, but maybe you kind of supported it, if you will. Like, like I'm in this with you, right? What was the
Well, I
first?
was, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, no, I was encouraged for sure. He just started spilling out these little thoughts that were spinning around in his head, like writers have it all the time, it seems like. But his were really fitting at the time, and he was really he's still wonderful. We saw him recently. We played up in Montana. Wrote that song in Bozeman, Montana, because that's where he was living at the time, and still is. He's still there.
Ah, excellent. What was the first song of yours that you've ever heard that you heard on the radio? Like, do you remember like
Uh,
being in your car or like listening at home? What was it? What was the song?
well, the very first song I ever heard it was on television. It was this guy William Lee Golden, who is with the Oak Ridge Boys,
I
and
just interviewed him. He was just on the
oh, did you
show.
really?
Yes.
Well,
Okay, so tell me the
he
story.
well, I was living in Austin, Texas. I just had been signed to MCA, but my producer was cutting a few sides on William Lee Golden. He had left the Oak Ridge Boys for a period of time, and this was a song they thought was going to be like a single for William Lee Golden. So he performed it on Nashville Now, Ralph Emery's television show at the time, and it might as well have been Elvis because it was so exciting to hear somebody else,
Oh.
someone singing my song. And I love the Oak Ridge Boys as well, so it was just a huge thrill.
And what was the title of that song? How'd it go?
It went on to be our very first single called "Every Step of the Way." That was the name of the song.
There you go. What a great story. And it really does talk
Mhm.
about going back to the fact that, country music is, people want to help other people's careers. It's not as competitive. It's not as, I mean, I'm not saying it's not competitive. It is competitive, but it's also very
Yeah, but
neighborly. And it's
yeah.
we get through this industry, no matter what our industry is, by the people and the company that we keep. So, and you've been keeping good company with your team, I guess, over 30 years now, right? Terry
Yeah, and
McBride, right?
well, I have. I've been fortunate to rub elbows with some very, talented people. That hasn't hurt me a bit either, Donna. Just I spent 13 years on the road with Ronnie Dunn of Brooks and Dunn, and that friendship started through a song that he had recorded of mine, and we had known each other. We had been nominated for some CMAs and ACM's New Group of the Year and that sort of thing. And his partner, Kix Brooks, was a friend and had co-written a song for us that we had a hit on. So anyway, that turned out to be a great relationship. Just a guy that I really looked up to as an artist, and then got to know as a friend, and then you know a co-writer, and a great relationship formed from that very first meeting, really, with Ronnie. It was just a great opportunity for me. And yeah, I mean, and I've had wonderful people all along. Tony Brown, our producer, who signed us to MCA back in the day, a legendary producer for artists like George Strait and Reba McEntire and Winona and Vince Gill. The list goes on and on and on.
Ah,
He took an interest in me. He was the guy I really wanted to work with. And fortunately, out of all the meetings we had, when people were kind of talking about me or maybe signing me, he was the guy that really got it. He is the guy that flew to Austin and met me. And he said, if you're the real deal, I'm going to sign you to MCA. I went, oh my God, I hope I'm the real deal, whatever that is, because I'm tired of starving down here in Austin. And he did. He just really opened so many doors for me. And I'm still kind of going through a few of those doors to this day.
yeah, he's really great. I was able to go down and cover the Dottie West event that they had a couple of years ago, and
Oh,
Vince was there that night and came on, and I got a chance to visit with him. And once I met him, actually, like maybe 25 years ago, because he had his
oh,
guitar and it had Gil on the name of his guitar, and he put it up in like the luggage rack. And I looked down and I'm like, that's Vince Gill. So I just said hello, like, hey, how you doing? Because it was way before I've ever had a show or anything. But he was so like kind and sweet, and I said, yours? And he's like, and I said like that. But it was fun to visit with you,
yeah.
Terry, today. I wish you continued success on your journey. It was nice to visit with you, and I'm happy that you took the time just to kind of
Oh,
have a little conversation. So I wish we had some like Nashville hot chicken or something. Every time I talk to somebody that's in the country music industry, no matter where they are, I'm always feeling like I want a snack, right? I want like a biscuit.
it's a
Some-
food. Food is a big part of the culture here in the
so
South. I
big.
grew up with it, but yes, yes, it is. But hey, it's a pleasure. Thank you, Donna, for
You're
taking time,
welcome.
and I've enjoyed that. I was kind of following what you're doing. You've been busy,
Oh,
and so thanks for squeezing me in. I appreciate it.
oh my gosh, that means so much to me. Thank you so much. Very sweet of you. And hopefully I'll be down south visiting my daughter Lisa. Maybe I'll come and see you perform sometime live wherever you're traveling. So happy journeys to you. Take care, Terry.
Thank you, Donna. You
You're
too. Bye
welcome.
bye.
Bye bye.